Welcome to the Troy Talk Podcast, your home for anything and everything sports. Sit back, enjoy, and here's your host, Troy.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Troy Talk Podcast, your home for USC sports. Today, we have a very special episode for you all, especially for the recruiting junkies out there. We're going to be doing a two-part series of our incoming signing class with my thoughts and ramblings on each player. I'll try to throw in some player comps where I see fit and projecting how they will fit long-term. This episode will focus on the offense, but stay tuned for the video on the defense to follow. This is an interesting landscape that we have nowadays, so most of the class is set in stone as of right now. However, there are some rumblings of people that maybe it'd be last-second flips, or maybe some people in the class currently that won't be in the class, but for the most part, it will be the same. But due to time constraints, I recorded this a day or so early, so if there are any flips, I do apologize, but I will cover those in the comment section down below. Whether it's someone that's new to the class or someone that is leaving the class, I will kind of give my thoughts on either of the whatever happens. As always, if you are enjoying the content, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel a lot, and I'm shooting for 500 subs by the end of the year. All right, let's get it rolling. So we're going player by player. Let me know down in the comments who your favorite offensive recruit in the cycle is and overall your thoughts on the class. I welcome any and all commentary. All right, so of course, as you know, we're kind of going to have to go basically from highest rated to lowest rated. There was a little bit of movement in the rankings like about a week ago. So some of these might not be completely adjusted, but for the most part, they are basically from blue chip to down to 3-star. And we're going to start with, of course, let's see if we got it going here. Keinai Pepe, of course. 6'7", 320 out of IMG Academy. I mean, just an absolute monstrosity of a human being. 6'7", 320. You heard that right. So franchise left tackle, one of the few ones we've had in a long time. I mean, honestly, probably going back to Austin Jackson, the last time we actually had someone that we were projecting to be a first-round draft pick at left tackle. We've had a lot of patchwork, Elijah Vera Tucker, Jonah Monheim, et cetera, but not a true, just bona fide 5-star recruit. He has elite size, strength, measurables, all the above, plays really good competition in Florida, and is just bigger than everybody still. And it doesn't worry me per se, but you always have to wonder if a recruit in high school is dominating with their size. Is it because of their size or because of their skill? And I think for Keinai Pepe, it's definitely not just a size thing. Like, he is a really skilled player. USC did a really good job in his recruitment. I mean, they threw the full court press on him. He wasn't, really leading towards USC at the beginning, and they really made him a priority. Ideally, he probably sits behind Elijah Page, but possibly could get some playing time maybe at right tackle next year. But ideally, I mean, Elijah Page is still a really good player. I think having him as a senior back, a left tackle, would probably be advisable. And I think we kind of just let Keinai sit a little bit and learn. But if he gets thrust into action, I think that is someone who, this isn't very common that this happens, but could be thrust into, early playing time and probably do pretty well. And yeah, I mean, just look, like, he absolutely just squares up people. They're vastly smaller than him, but that's just how it is. Next, we got Mark Bowman, 6'5", 225 pounds out of Mater Dei High School. Lazy comparison for me, and it's just the first thing you obviously think of is just Brock Bowers, and it's because he's such an elite receiver, and also an underrated blocker. I mean, Brock Bowers was definitely like one of like a he's basically a receiver in college, but like he still was able to block, and he still blocks in the NFL pretty well. But when you have Mark Bowman, when you have this skill, when you have this yard after catch ability, probably the best I've seen from a tight end prospect that USC's recruited in, I mean, maybe ever. I mean, you're going back to some dudes back in the day, Blake Ailes, and that were like 5-star tight ends. But I really don't think that there's been anybody this talented that's able to change direction like him at such a big, 6'5", 225. Just really kind of a unicorn. And it's kind of tough this year to kind of gauge. I think he lost his 5th star because Mater Dei didn't really throw to him. And that's unfortunate, but I think it was really just the way Mater Dei played this year. Anytime that he was given the ball, anytime that he was given a chance to show what he could do, he exhibited it. I think his last game, I forgot if it was against who they got upset by. I'm blanking. It might have been Corona, Rancho Santa Margarita, one of those guys, but he really had a good game, and Mater Dei lost in spite of a really good performance. So just to look at the film briefly here, I mean, the routes that you're seeing run, the way he's lined up, it might not be how USC lines their tight ends up currently, but he also will probably act more of a receiver than a tight end in USC's system. And what I mean by that is he'll probably give him different routes. And I think he'll be very successful in those. All right, so next is Deshun Redau, 5'10", 195-pound running back out of Oaks Christian High School. Really big get for USC. Another one that we weren't exactly like super leading for early on. We were worried about we might lose him to Michigan. And USC has really struggled with Oaks Christian recruiting. I mean, we lost Hayden Lowe last year. I think you probably have to go back to what I'm trying to think. Mark Tyler is probably the last successful Oaks Christian running back. So really excited we got him, especially with a couple of the transfer portal. I mean, Brian Jackson leaving to the transfer portal makes a huge difference there, but has been a little bit injured in his high school career. But when he is on the field, he shows up and is really like a high-end 4-star recruit. Really good speed, but I think more impressive is his cutting ability and to play in between the tackles given his size. And, that's not always 5'10 to 195. It's not exactly in between the tackle kind of running back, but he has a real low center of gravity, really, thick, muscular, kind of low to the ground kind of guy. And he's really kind of bounces off people, which you wouldn't really expect for his size. I think he likely sits behind King and Waymon next year, but he will earn snaps, I think. And obviously, as you saw this year with people going down due to injury, it can happen, and he, might be called upon. But we're going to have a really loaded running back room next year, and I'm really excited about it. And then we'll just kind of take a quick look at the film here. Actually, perfect transition. We have Ethan Feaster, 6'1", 180-pound receiver out of DeSoto High School. Just pure electricity. I mean, look at the tape right there, just blowing by people, accelerating past them, and they just have absolutely no chance of catching him. He's an absolute pure athlete. Kick return, punt return. I mean, you'll see another example here where he just absolutely separates from them. Once he gets even level with them, it's too far gone. A really, really incredible tape. Just looks like he's playing a completely different sport. Really good yard after catch ability, but also the ability to high point a ball as you see here on film and get it, in the corner of the end zone on kind of a fade route. But just kind of take a look here. The go route, I think, is where he's going to really excel, similar with Luke Weaver, who we'll talk about later. Poorly thrown ball there. But just really that alpha wide receiver type personality that you want with the wide receiver one. And I think you'll see a little bit of highlights after he starts, stops making incredible catches here. But you'll see some even highlights of blocking, which you love to see out of a receiver. I think all of the best USC receivers in the past have been really, really good blockers. Drake London, Amon-Ra, Mekhi Lemon this year, Robert Woods. The list goes on and on. There's just so many that are really good, just absolute dogs that even if they're not the focal point of the offense on that play, they still go 110%. And I think you'll really see that out of Ethan Feaster. USC really put the full court press on this guy as well. LSU, Texas A&M, all the above. Here you'll see some blocking. I'll cut it off there. But yeah, I'll briefly talk about it. Texas A&M, LSU really, and I think even Texas a little bit, were very high, and we made him a priority early on and really showed it. And he's been all USC for basically since the summer. I think we gave him a really good NIL deal as well, probably top end. I don't think many people are going to beat it. So it's also probably why he's staying with USC. But I mean, he's definitely going to command snaps next year, and I'm very excited to watch him play. All right, next, another guy I'm really excited about, Trent Mosley. Man, 5'11", 170-pound out of Santa Margarita High School, the CIF champions of the Southern section. Man, the guy is on fire. He was hurt for the majority of the year, but turned it on when his team needed him the most. In the playoffs, he just won a state championship. I think he had like 9 receptions for 200-plus yards and a couple of touchdowns. Just, I keep saying this, but elite yard after catch. And I think even more so, this guy is probably the best yard after catch receiver in this class. Really good on screens. Like, I don't want to just label him a gadget player because obviously he's much better than that. But I think that's going to be where he's going to really thrive at USC, and Lincoln's going to find unique ways of getting him the ball. Kind of similar how we were trying to do with Zachariah Branch, but I think you'll see him. He's just a better football player than Zachariah Branch versus like an athlete, because obviously Zach had elite speed coming out of high school. Trent Mosley's fast, but he's more of like a quick change of direction and just very efficient runner, more so than a speedy runner. But you'll see him used a lot out of the slot. I think he's going to command reps again next year and be an early contributor. Just really knows how to play football. He was a Trinity League MVP as a junior, which is pretty tough to do in that conference, especially on a, not Mater Dei or St. John Bosco. Don't be surprised also if he returns punts and kicks next year. Mekhi Lemon's obviously not going to be here next year, and we're going to have an opening there. And he's really good, as you'll see here on film, of just like at any point he can take something to the house. And it's not necessarily, like I said, that he's like the fastest dude, but he just makes people miss effortlessly, knows how to read gaps, knows when to cut back. It's just very, very impressive. But yeah, I mean, I will say, I think the complement of the wide receiver group coming into this year is so good. And I'm very excited, especially with Mekhi and Jacoby leaving, of what we're going to see next year from the youngsters. All right, next we got Shawn Alston, running back, 5'9", 205 pounds out of Harvey High School in Ohio. Really love the size and the makeup of this kid. I mean, he's just an absolute bowling ball of a running back, kind of old school in that regard. And I think we've had a lot of success with this size of running back. I mean, Woody Marks, Marshawn Lloyd have both been really successful in Lincoln Riley's system. I think even going back to Oklahoma, Ramondre Stevenson is an example. Hard runner, puts up elite stats. I mean, if you just take a look at his stats this year, I mean, obviously the competition is probably not the highest in Ohio, but he puts up numbers wherever he goes. He's always the best player on the field. Lacks a little of the top end speed. That's probably the one knock on him, but he's still not slow by any means. He just knows how to efficiently run football. And someone that, I mean, Deshun Redau also able to run in between the tackles, but a little bit more of a thunder lightning complement comparison. Deshun Redau is a little bit more likely to take it outside and burst it outside and take it for 60 yards versus Shawn Alston's probably gonna be really good in between the tackles and more just basically like a more explosive version of Brian Jackson. So that power back is definitely open for USC this year, and he could end up taking a little bit of snaps in the goal line and red zone packages next year. But just really, and also I think he committed at the Army All-American game, so he's been committed to USC for a long, long time. Look at even able to run out of the backfield like kind of like Riley Wormley in the UCLA game. Just really good hands there. So I mean, great player. I think USC is just focusing on getting good football players, which is very, very important. Speaking of good football players, next, Jonas Williams, 6'1" quarterback, 215 pounds, out of Lincoln Way High School in Frankfort, Illinois. Really important piece for USC and for a multitude of reasons. I mean, I don't want to just like discredit him as a depth piece, but the quarterback position, it's like you almost kind of need a quarterback every cycle now with how NIL works and how the transfer portal works. And you can't just get any quarterback. It has to be someone like, if we were to have to rely on them, they would be good enough to, take us to a college football playoff. And, probably not the most elite recruit that we've had at the quarterback position in the last couple of years, but really, really solid. I mean, like, obviously the future is Hassan Longstreet. That's the plan. But in case it doesn't work out, he is no slouch, right? He's athletic, can run the ball very well, but likes to prefer to be a pocket passer. But what he's really good at is like escapability and getting outside the pocket and throwing on the run. Kind of reminds me of Sam Darnold in that regard, where sometimes he might be a little bit better when he's moving, even kind of similar to Caleb Williams at times. But really good pocket awareness, able to extend plays as you see here, get the first down, can move, 100% move, breaking away from, I mean, obviously it's high school players, but still can break that big run. Even more athletic than Jaden Mayava is currently. Probably not as athletic as Hassan Longstreet, but more of that mold. So yeah, really had a good offseason in the camp circuit and excited to see what he has in spring camp next year. Next, we have Esun Tafa, interior offensive lineman, 6'4", 305 pounds, out of Corner Canyon High School in Utah. Really solid, tough ball player. Has a rugby background, the Polynesian culture, just tough and nasty. Really athletic for his size with that rugby background, and I think he's likely going to thrive in Lincoln Riley's system as a guard, someone that you can, pull either direction, whether that be even in passing game or run game. Someone that, in screens, you can get out in space, as you see here. He's comfortable with moving in front of the receiver. Played a lot of left tackle this year for his high school, but that's not, let's see, here's a counter play. Gets ahead of his guy, not too bad there, drives him to the ground. You love to see that. But played a lot of left tackle for his high school. Obviously, that's very common. As high school, you're always the best offensive lineman. You usually put him at left tackle. But I think he's more of a guard in Lincoln Riley's system, and someone that is pretty highly rated. I mean, he's like a mid to high 4-star. So a good get. I think he was once committed to Utah, if I recall. So flipping him from there, they usually have really good offensive linemen. So that means he probably was going to be pretty highly rated in Coach Witt's system. Just here, just pushing people down. But as I said, with offensive linemen, you just never know. They're always just so much bigger than their counterparts. But got out here in the screen game. Love to see that. Really, really good. Really, really good. Next is one of my favorite players in this class, Vlad Dyakonov, offensive tackle, 6'6", 275 pounds, out of Folsom High School. So he was, yes, the left tackle or offensive lineman for Rider Lions. Really big fan of this kid. Can play every position on the offensive line. Really great versatility. And I don't say that lightly because obviously in high school, you can play every position on the offensive line and probably be good enough. But I think literally at the college level, he is good enough to play every position on the offensive line. Probably not an ideal left tackle, but could do it, kind of like Tobias Raymond's doing this year. But every other position is definitely fair game for him, which I think will help him get to see the field a little bit sooner than maybe someone else. But really strong kid, good in the weight room, hard worker. I think cerebral and athletic enough to play center, which is really cool to see. But I kind of liken him to Jonah Monheim, someone who's kind of a jack of all trades, maybe not a master of anything quite yet. But just an effective football player, someone you want to have on your offensive line to plug gaps in case of injuries, and just you'll be in good hands with him. Probably needs to get a little bit bigger still, although he's very strong for his size, but probably needs to up it to closer to 300 pounds. But maybe he's there. These are kind of earlier numbers. But yeah, I kind of liken him to Tobias Raymond, just someone who's really hard worker, kind of blue collar, able to play so many different positions, and yeah, as you can see, put some pretty good film. You should see the film of him doing some deadlifts and squats. It's very impressive. Wouldn't be mad if he dragged Rider Lions with him either. Next, we got another one of my favorite players in this class, Luke Weaver. I think one of the most underrated receivers in this class, and kind of a late bloomer. 6'3", 205-pound receiver out of Notre Dame Sherman Oaks High School. And I will say, not to toot my own horn here, but when I get excited about a receiver, it's usually a good sign. I've had a pretty good track record in the past with some more underrated receivers. Drake London, I was pounding the table saying this guy is like a top 10 5-star type of receiver, and he ended up being that. So I don't know if he's quite the Drake London type talent, but I think his size, being 6'3", 205, he's a big dude and probably can put on a couple more pounds. And he has elite track speed, like legit 10.6, 10.7 in the 100 meters. And just an absolute dog that loves to compete. Really good after the catch, but also I think his best maybe contribution to USC will be his ability on the deep ball and to kind of get behind defenses, as you can see, and really good catching in kind of tight spaces. Kind of like with that Mekhi Lemon against UCLA route this past Victory Bell. That is something that I could see him being very successful at. And another thing I love is that really late bloomer, but I mean, once he committed to USC and he was getting all the attention, he was all USC all the time. He is bought in. And I mean, we were on him before even some of the big dudes, and the big dudes tried to get on him and he wasn't having any of it. So he might not contribute right away, depending on who we bring in. And we have Trent Mosley and obviously Ethan Feaster ahead of him, but he's going to earn reps eventually. Like, you cannot leave someone that talented off the field for very long. Next, we have Breck Kolojay, interior offensive lineman, 6'5", 320 out of IMG Academy. Another IMG offensive lineman. We love to see that pipeline getting built. But really tough as nails guy, real classic offensive lineman, has a mean streak, will just absolutely drive you into the turf. Love, as I said, being a teammate of Keinai Pepe, can play multiple positions, but I think interior offensive line is probably where he's going to thrive. And someone also similar to Esun Tafa, who's really good in space, and someone that you're going to want to see kind of on screens and counters. I think Lincoln Riley definitely has an idea for who he wants as an offensive lineman, especially, on the guard position. And I mean, we're seeing like a kind of a cookie cutter perfect mold of that. But yeah, I mean, just kind of, enjoy the tape here. I mean, just absolutely driving everybody he sees into the turf and finishing plays. Really love kind of his aura about him too. Loves, like I said, loves football, loves just dominating the competition. You love to see that in offensive lineman. And I think he's like kind of has like the future captain type leadership ability. And also was really gung-ho. He made his decision a little bit later, but has been all USC since then. And then enjoy some, you see Keinai Pepe in there as well. But all right, we got one more clip of him. I mean, would not hate to see Breck Kolojay and Keinai Pepe line up next to each other for a couple of years on the USC offensive line. I think we could be doing a lot worse than those two combining. Next, we have Roderick Tezeno. He's a wide receiver, 6'2", 175-pound, out of Opelousas Catholic High School in Opelousas, Louisiana. No slouch in his own right, but probably the one receiver you're not hearing a whole lot about in this class, but really good speed. Again, against inferior competition, so it's really tough to gauge like how much faster he is. I don't really know exactly track times. He's probably closer to like a flat 11, low 11s versus like a, Luke Weaver, who's, 10.6, 10.7. But he's going to provide really good depth for USC, and I think that's very important. You can never have too many good receivers, and you just never know who's going to materialize. I mean, you saw DJ Jordan transfer out after not seeing the field after, that's 2 years, I think. He was a redshirt freshman this year. So, there's always a revolving door with these guys. So you want to get as many good players as you can that fit your system, that you like, to see which one's going to pop. But, I mean, don't be surprised if he, commands a little bit of snaps next year, but probably leaning more towards his second or third year in the system. But we'll see. Injuries can always thrust a person. You see the quick slant ability, really good at just kind of bursting away from receivers. But again, the competition is he's not going against like 5-star, 4-star cornerbacks, so it's really tough to like evaluate route trees and route running ability. But he seems to be bigger, seems to be faster than everybody he's playing, and he dominates bad competition. So those are things that you absolutely have to see. His quarterback really loves that corner route. All right, here's a cool one I wanted to talk about. Tron Baker, Tron Baker, wide receiver, 6'1", 170 pounds out of Sierra Canyon High School here in Chatsworth, California. One of the better stories in this class. I mean, he is just like the definition of a Trojan. I mean, I think he might be one of USC's, if not the longest commit that we have tenured. I think it might be about 2 years now. Really loves USC. Originally started at Los Alamitos and I think transferred to Sierra Canyon and really showed out his senior season, man. I mean, he was injured, it seemed like, all the time he's been committed to USC, and then finally was healthy this year on a really good Sierra Canyon team, and finally showed why he was USC level. Some were worried that, he might get processed because he's injured. We haven't heard a whole lot from him. Wouldn't be surprised, with the new NIL, yada, yada, but he really has stuck with this commitment. I think is, again, having pipelines is super valuable in Southern California. So that Sierra Canyon pipeline is going to be invaluable, as that's becoming up there with Mater Dei and St. John Bosco and even Santa Margarita High School. Is becoming kind of staples of what USC is going to look for with the elite talent out of those schools. But very, very happy for him. I think he's going to really relish being a Trojan. Wouldn't even be shocked to see him, even if he doesn't get a whole lot of playing time early on, he sticks on, earns his degree, because I think he really just enjoys the concept of being a USC Trojan, and that's always something that you're going to value with when you're recruiting somebody. Next, we got Kannon Smith, 6'5", 300-pound, probably going to be a center for USC, out of Valor Christian High School in Littleton, Colorado. That, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that is Christian McCaffrey's high school. Really excited about this guy because I think he just legit wants to play center, and that's what USC's convinced him he's going to play, and that's what he wants to play. And someone who specializes at being a center and really hones his craft is very valuable. That position is super, super valuable, probably the most valuable on the line aside from the left tackle, in my opinion. He played everywhere in high school, as I keep saying with these guys, but really great athlete who's good at the point of attack. I mean, just absolutely bowls people over. Also plays a little defense too, which you'll see right here. Or actually, this is on offense, but I think you might see a couple of defensive clips. Really good in space right there, just paving roadblocks. Got to show better speed there, running back. All right, good little move there. But yeah, I mean, he plays a little defense, which you always love to see, because someone that is that athletic and can do things on the defensive side of the ball, we just he's just a really good football player, just has good instincts, whatever it may be, and has an understanding of what a defensive lineman might do. I also want to give a shout out to Valor Christian's All-22 tape. That is just such a rich high school thing to have for high school tape, and I absolutely love it. It makes it so much easier to evaluate these guys and give such a unique picture that you just won't be able to see pretty much anywhere else. Like, I've never seen this before, but I actually really enjoyed watching this guy's film. I watched it probably a couple times over. Next, we have Josiah Jefferson, 6'5", 230 pounds, out of Southwestern College, originally out of Chula Vista, California. So more of a big wide receiver. I will say this guy was a little bit late to the party. Junior college transfer later on in the year, actually more recently, within the last month, I would say. So yeah, more of a receiver than a tight end at this stage, but he is learning, has really good football bloodlines. You always like to see that with his brother, Tony Jefferson, who is an NFL player currently with the Chargers, I believe, and has had a really long career, I think almost 10 years now. Former Utah commit. So again, I really credit Coach Witt with, kind of cultivating the talent with the lower recruits, and he's shown that he has good evaluation. So if we're snagging people from Utah, that's really never a bad thing. Likely needs a couple of years in the system to grasp it, unless we kind of just ask him to be, a pure receiving tight end, which we could do. I mean, it's not like out of the realm of possibility, but, Lincoln Riley's system with tight ends, you're asked to block a lot. You're asked to be an H-back every once in a while. So it's not just lining up in the slot and doing routes. You're going to need to show that you can block to get reps. So that might take a little bit, especially because he's new to football. Obviously, as you can see, showing some pretty crazy wide receiver film here, but not really tight end film per se. He's just a very big wide receiver at his current state. I mean, look at this route here. Tight ends don't run this route. So this guy's a heck of an athlete for his size. If we can kind of just get him to learn how to block, he could be a really good player. Next, we have Chase Deniz, offensive tackle, 6'7", 291 pounds, out of Cathedral Catholic down in San Diego, California. So another dude who I kind of just get the vibe that loves being a Trojan. Has a really interesting story. Has a UCLA family background. So I think he grew up a UCLA fan. Family's UCLA fans, but USC was kind of the first one to jump on him as far as like a scholarship. And as soon as we kind of convinced him we wanted him, credit to Zach Hansen for that, because this was kind of a diamond in the rough kind of recruit. He was all USC right away, shut down his recruitment right away. I think even UCLA tried to jump on him after basically hearing that he was a UCLA fan. And he said, no, absolutely not. I'm locked into USC. They have a plan for me, and I want to be a Trojan. So you absolutely love to see that. Has really good size. I mean, 6'7", 290, you cannot teach that. Loves to play football, loves to hone his craft. I remember hearing Gerard Martinez tell me, like, that guy just loves to go to football camps and just get better. A little bit, I think, late to the game as far as like a late bloomer, but is getting better pretty rapidly. I think definitely more of a project and not somebody you're going to see contribute right away, but maybe something like a Tobias Raymond. I keep making a lot of comparisons to that, but Tobias Raymond was very raw out of Ventura High School and has turned out to be a pretty serviceable, if not good, offensive lineman for USC. Probably not a plus athlete like some of the other guys in space, but someone who plays hard, probably plays like right tackle. I think that's his kind of position with his long arms, and Also, side note, helps, well, you'll watch John Fifita's tape right here, but he's going to help hopefully create a pipeline with Honor Falave Johnson out of also Cathedral Catholic in San Diego, and probably the prize recruit in the 2027 class. So very, very important there. All right, next, John Fifita. I think this is our last recruit. Interior offensive lineman, 6'6", 350 pounds, out of St. Francis High School. Absolute mammoth of a man. Really, really raw, and definitely going to be a guard at the next level. I think that's his ceiling and his floor. That's just what he is. Definite project for sure. Has to play a lot lower. Obviously, just kind of falls on his, competition because he's just so much bigger than them. I think he'd probably struggle right now against some faster defensive linemen with some more kind of pass rush techniques. Might struggle a little bit to get into space. Although when he gets on somebody, he's going to latch on and he's going to absolutely dominate them and drive them into the ground. So you love to see that. You love the mean streak. Maybe lose a little bit of weight, get a little bit more athletic, but never a bad thing to have too much depth. I'd liken him probably to maybe like a Damian Mama as kind of a comparison. Maybe even Elijah Vicona from this past year, the true freshman. Also very, very big human being who I think had a really good year this year. So if he could kind of continue on that trajectory that Elijah Vicona had this year, I think you'll see Elijah Vicona have some really good opportunities to play next year. And that's really exciting because I think he's done really well. So yeah, that wraps it up for the offense. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments below. As I said, let me know who you thought was your favorite recruits, what you're thinking of as far as what you think people are going to, immediate contributors, things like that. I think we're going to have the defense of video probably out a day after this drops. Just briefly, because this was kind of been talking about, and this was obviously the offense. One of the flip rumors is Caden Dixon Wyatt out of Mater Dei High School. Didn't put any film on him because we just don't know for sure he's going to be a USC Trojan. And I didn't want to wait till the last second, but more of a contested catch specialist. And I'll be honest with you, I'm the only person I'd probably put him above in this class as far as a wide receiver class is Roderick Tezeno. I like Luke Weaver more. I like Trent Mosley more. And I like Ethan Feaster more. So not to say he's not a good player. He's out of Mater Dei. It's always good to get that pipeline going, but not someone I think necessarily is a requirement in this class, especially when I think we need to hit with a wide receiver one out of the portal. So will be interesting. Won't be a bad thing if he commits. You can always have good players, good depth, but will be interesting to see how he kind of fits in with this class because we'll have 5 wide receivers if he commits. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what you thought of this video below and what you like if you like the films. I was trying to do as much of a follow along with the film as possible, but it's not always possible. And hopefully the defensive film, you enjoy that as well. And we have a really good class and we close as the #1 class. So I will leave it there for now and I will see you guys at the defensive signing day recap. All right, have a wonderful night.